Hi, thanks for joining me. I'd like to talk today about soul exchanges or awakening, and they can be different. The feeling of a soul exchange is different to an awakening in the body. So, an awakening, spiritual awakening, is kind of when you've seen things a certain way for a very, very long time, and you suddenly get this. It's like this idea that it's different. You see it differently. It's kind of like when you step away from your ego and you just hear the higher self and you see it differently. And it awakens something inside of you. It's like, oh, yeah, I understand this now. I didn't get it. And you can listen to a spiritual teacher, you can listen to them over and over and over, and it doesn't really make sense. You're interested still and you want to understand what they're talking about, but it doesn't really make sense. And then when you have an awakening, it click. You hear it's a click. It was. Were you ever at school and you were trying to work out a maths problem, and the teacher just continually kept trying to teach you this maths problem, and it didn't. You were doing it, but it wasn't clicking, and then all of a sudden it clicked. A spiritual awakening is that kind of feeling. It's like, oh, I get it. And when you get it, you start to get everything else as well. Everything else starts to make sense. So that's a spiritual awakening. But a lot of people have a soul exchange where, as I've explained to you before, the soul is just energy. And the energy that's inside our body is connected by a thread to source energy, where it came from. And so when we actually physically die, the cord breaks from the human self. So your human consciousness, your ego self, all those thoughts and programming that's in there, that stays with the deceased body. And it's just the higher consciousness that goes back to where it came from. And it stores all the knowledge that you have experienced in this lifetime that you're having. So because it's connected to source energy also knows all the time what you're going through because it's connected. That's why those that are past, the souls that are in that source energy ball, they can know what you're feeling as well because of this cord that's connected. It's like you're constantly transmitting to them and they're just receiving. And they also transmit back to you. When you have a soul exchange, the energy that is inside your body returns home and a different energy comes into your body. Now, this can happen because for quite a long time, your physical body may have been suffering with mental health issues, with stress, with post-traumatic stress, a trauma that you just can't, your physical body cannot cope. It's just not coping. The role of the soul, the higher consciousness, is to try to help the physical consciousness. They're meant to help each other. It's like the higher self and the ego working together. But when your physical self is so traumatized, it can't hear. If that soul energy is not strong enough to get messages through to you, it can't hear it. It can't get that help that it needs. So there's a decision that, let's say this soul will I'm just going to leave this body, send in some different energy so that this different energy can snap this person out of that way of thinking or the habits they've been in. And it happens a lot when somebody has a near-death experience. They will have a soul exchange, or someone has a suicide attempt and it doesn't work. They still here. They have a soul exchange. They have been an addict of some type and they've had enough, and they get to the end of, I can't live like this anymore. They will get a soul exchange. Somebody who's been through something so emotionally traumatic that their physical body can't cope with it, they can have a soul exchange. So it's usually it's rarely that a soul exchange will just happen for no reason. Like, I'm just being the person I'm being and enjoying life, and a soul just decides to swap over. It usually happens under some kind of traumatic experience where the soul and the human self are not coping together. They're not giving each other what they're supposed to be giving each other. So it's like a higher agreement. Like, I'll go back home and we'll send in, and it's kind of, sometimes it's like replacing a teacher. If there's a teacher at a school and that teacher just cannot get it through to a certain student, the student has to go to another teacher. They're not getting help. And it's a little bit like that. You're just not getting the help from the higher consciousness that's supposed to be there. The person that goes through a soul exchange will know. They'll know, because they will feel very, very different. And because the physical self is what created the personality. The physical self, the physical brain is holding thoughts, programming. So that's still there. Even though a new soul can step into the body, that's still there. Some people get confused and think if there's a new soul coming in, then the physical person has to be a whole new person. No, the old person is still there. This new soul is helping them not see themselves as that old person. The higher consciousness, the soul, is helping them see that they can be different. They can view things differently. They can live differently. They can cope differently. That's what it's doing. So they will feel it. They will feel like they're a different person. They don't always know why they're a different person. They feel like, some of them feel like they may have had a breakdown, a total mental breakdown, and woken up as a different person. But they will know. It's just different to an awakening feeling. And it's there for the good of the person that's alive. It's there to help. It's not a demon coming in or anything horrible like that. That's just made up stuff to scare people. It's there to help. And so you may have experienced it. Or you might actually know somebody who you think has been through some kind of soul exchange, because they're just totally different than they used to be. They've changed their personality. They changed the way they live. They changed the way they do things. They changed the way they think. And you might say, oh, look, they're a different person today. But it could be because they've just done a lot of healing work on their mind and they have decided to be a different person. Or they've had a soul exchange. Or they can have some kind of awakening. And then it's usually the awakening that makes just people, think differently and talk differently. But that soul exchange is powerful. The person experiencing it, they know they've been through something spiritual and something big, because they obviously, the feeling, the energy, if you think to yourself your whole life, the energy that's been inside your body, you've connected with it, and then all of a sudden it's different energy, of course you're going to feel it. So yeah, that's what happens. So maybe you've been through that. I know of a few people that have been through soul exchanges, and I know people that are going through awakenings as well, and it's great. No matter what it is, it's great, because it's giving you that higher level of awareness. So let me know, have you experienced that yourself?